Leicester City had treaded water for far too long without making much of an imprint on English football. Then, Martin O'Neill showed up and reminded Filbert Street of its potential. Leicester City had believed they had found the right man for the job in David Pleat in late 1987, but all he could do was keep them with their heads afloat in the bottom half of the second division. It wasn't good enough, so in the last season before the Premier League was founded, he was sacked and in came Gordon Lee to steady the ship. Quite frankly, the Foxes could be grateful for the restructuring of the Football League into the Premier League because it meant that their eventual resting place of 22nd didn't mean relegation into the third tier. That's just how bad that things had got. After a 20-game spell as caretaker manager, Gordon Lee was subbed out for Brian Little, formerly of Aston Villa, for all his playing career, but his first permanent managerial job had seen him take Darlington from non-league to the third tier in successive seasons. On the basis of that, he was hired.
By Colin Gibson as well, and Reece Wilmot has missed his kick completely. Gibson will punish him.
Right, who shouldn't really have been able to get behind the Southend defence quite so easily.
Again, he swings it across the heart of that area. James, he was unlucky. It's in the net. It's going to be a shot from Gibson. Oh, it's flown into the Bristol.
It was a nearly impeccable start to life as Leicester City manager for Brian Little, dropping just the 2 points away to Swindon Town, who might have been in the top flight had they not cooked their books. Quickly though, Little began to realise just how cursed this job was, shipping 3 in successive games at Middlesbrough and Barnsley before going down 5-1 to Cambridge United in September. So Leicester went into their penultimate game at Charlton with a 5-point lead with 2 games to play. Middlesbrough's game in hand meant that all the Foxes needed to do was win one of them. They wound up losing both, not even finishing third, which spat them out into the lottery of the playoffs.
Coming in is taken short to Steve Thompson. It's a good chip. And here comes Russell. Great goal. In swinging corner, Dion Dublin moving towards the near post. Up goes Chappell and Heathcote. Good one. Here's Danny O'Shea on the last touch.
Again, it wasn't the best corner, but it's been forced in on the line. But all at sea at the moment. And Grayson gets a great opportunity here for another. And it breaks to Thompson. Yes! Grayson overlapping down his left. He's got Orman Royd and Russell forward. Tries the shot. Russell! It's 3. And it's
from the keeper. It's headed on by Orman Royd and a mistake by the defender. And it's right, and it's 4-0, and well.
And here goes to Orman Royd. It's 5.
Got a really vital penalty at Tranmere to lift Blackburn's season last month. Mike Newell against Carl Muggleton. They're on the way! Ticket from the back. Whitlow with the free kick. Mims has come for it, not got it. Chance for Grayson, deflected and away this time by Colin Hendry. 2 goal line clearances left on the clock. It's Mike Newell for the second time. Oh, beaten onto the post by Muggleton. The drama just never stops. Here's a chance for Tommy Wright.
To coast past Cambridge only to fall in what was the club's first visit to Wembley in a quarter of a century, it was incredibly tough to take. On the face of it, you have to say that Leicester paid the price for their inconsistencies throughout the campaign and arguably didn't deserve to go up. But armed with that vital experience of losing at the National Stadium, the Foxes belatedly battled back. Yes, it was only after a late February defeat at the baseball ground in which Little's side finally got their act together.
Sun coming out now as Mills makes it on again, edge of the area. Lovely ball in, here comes Walsh, a goal! Ball finds Coatsworth here, inside the area, and Gary Coatsworth's got another one. Has some space now, and Oldfield smacks that one across, here comes Walsh. In off the post, and Steve Walsh takes the... Now, plenty of options here, this is a tremendous piece of work, and now Thompson will hit the shot in, it took a deflection, completely wrong-footed, and Phil Nixon.
In 9th with 16 matches remaining, they won 8 and drew 1 of their next 9, which not only planted them firmly in the playoff conversation, but gave them an outside shot at automatic promotion. Sadly, 3-0 defeats on the road at West Ham and Peterborough derailed that half-hearted pipe dream, and despite the threat of having their whole playoff campaign undermined by a 7-1 pumping at St James Park, Leicester finished 6 points inside of the playoffs, where they were matched with Portsmouth, who had only just missed out on automatic promotion to the Premier League by goal difference.
He's turned Simons well, and suddenly Portsmouth are in trouble again as Joachim goes through. Now what sort of cross can Daniel put in here? It's a good long one there towards McLaughlin. Chip in there by Thompson. And Oldfield, and it's gone in. And Leicester. Here's Thompson. Joachim alongside him. Still with Thompson. It's a great goal. Oh, that's a good shot. A wonderful goal.
Players knew they had reached Wembley, but the job was still only half done.
Flank. Summerby whips it into Maskell. Well played. Hoddle. For Moncur. Good run by him, and now Maskell. They're ahead of him though. Moncur plays it back in again, and no offside. And Taylor has scored. Philpott's cross is an excellent one. Walsh is there. And Joachim Hill. And he curls it beautifully over to the far post. Philpott turning it back in again. Walsh goes up to the keeper, and it's in. Now he's got Joachim and looks for Thompson. And Thompson has equalised. Knocks it long for White, and White steals in and goes down, and it's a penalty.
I do feel that Kevin Paul should be more alert to that ball played through.
From the spot for Swindon. He scored!
You tell me, you're the experts. Supporting Leicester City in this time must have been quite the emotional rollercoaster. To return to Wembley 12 months after the last heartache, to go 3-0 down almost instantly to a team that was probably not as good as you, only to pull level and have the rug swept from under you by a penalty decision. It was difficult to see how any team would have the resolve to go again. But go again they quite clearly did, as they climbed to the top of Division 1 with a January win over Charlton. Now the league was obviously quite tight, as 2 wins separated the top 10, so the Foxes' subsequent inconsistencies had Brian Little descending from hero to zero. An April the 26th win at Fratton Park kept them just about in the playoffs, as the toils of a tough season took its toll on the division. Ending the campaign with 3 1-1 draws was enough for 4th and the playoffs once again. I think the cliche is third time lucky. Steve Walsh's desperately late winner at Wembley had finally seen the Foxes victorious at the grand old stadium for the first time ever in a meaningful capacity, and got them into the Premier League. This in a time right on the precipice before the rampant riches and an improved influx of talent flooded the game. It was a perfect time to jump aboard what was a runaway train.
Possession. Fox. Oh, and Elliott is free, coming in from the left. It nestles in for Robbie Elliott, and the sub.
Vinnie Jones preparing to launch one of those missiles he calls a throw-in. He does get such distance on these long throws. It goes Harford, it's 1-1.
Is struggling. No surprise then when Chelsea got a third early in the second half. Peacock's pass releasing Spencer to score his second of the game.
In theory, yes. In practice, Not quite so much. Brian Little had earned just 2 wins from his opening 14 Premier League games, and after slipping up again at home to mid-table Manchester City, they were in danger of dropping to the foot of the league. Little saw the writing on the wall, returned back to his footballing home of Villa Park, and 24 hours after his resignation, the Foxes won 2-1 at home to the mighty Arsenal. His successor, Mark McGee, who couldn't arrest the slide, only being able to double Leicester's win tally over the course of the next 24 matches. They were promptly relegated, only propped up by an even worse team in Ipswich Town. By the end of the year, McGee met the same fate, jumping to a West Midlands club in need before Christmas, just when Leicester were steeling themselves for a promotion push. In the playoffs and 1 point off the top of the table, whoever came in next would have the perfect platform for an immediate Premier League return.
Full effort by Giorgio Kinkladze. Leicester unable to resist the magic of the midfield maestro and unable to cope with the Premiership side's all-round attacking strength on this occasion.
Alexander, on the ball in, it's not a bad one. Poole didn't quite get home, it's 1-0! The scorer, Tony Thorpe, his second goal of the season.
Despite an opening goal after 28 minutes from Ewan Roberts.
No, you're right, it isn't the football you imagine when you think of Martin O'Neill and Leicester City, is it? Scrabbling around looking for wins that never arrived at places like Grimsby, Millwall and Stoke, hardly the bastions of footballing utopias. Still, the first win O'Neill did manage to carve out was the sweetest possible one, away at the traitorous Mark McGee's Wolves. It was a result which left Leicester clinging on to a spot in the playoffs only on goal difference. The platform still remained there for a manager who had started his managerial life at Wycombe, looked to have earned his big break at Norwich, only for boardroom shenanigans to generate him a false start. The more the season wore on, the more Leicester grew into it.
And then book him later, or send him off. Claridge is through, chance to make it 2-0, he has! Oh, shoot for Heskey. Heskey's in, left foot, drills it across, Claridge scores! 2-1 it is, 61 minutes!
Taylor supervising the free kick. Oh, is it a come over as well? But here is Taylor's kick. And it was a free header! And the goal!
Played, Ipswich moved into...
Does well to get that one in. And it's gone in! And it's it!
By April 13th and a draw at Tranmere, Leicester were on the outside looking in. It appeared as though the Foxes had missed their chance at the immediate return. Then they pushed themselves over the line. Oldham, Huddersfield, Birmingham all beaten at Filbert Street before a crucial 1-0 triumph at Watford leapfrogged them over Ipswich and into the top 6. There can be no doubt about it that O'Neill's manoeuvres in the transfer market had crept the club over the line. Neil Lennon had been purchased for midfield from Crewe. Joining him in the middle was Chelsea loanee Muzzy Izzet. Steve Claridge up front, though, would only grow more crucial as the playoffs kicked into gear.
I've got the best scoring record away from home in the division, and it's they who go on the attack first, with Heskey trying to get into a shooting position here, and getting the ball across the park. Parker has scored! Houghton. It's a good-looking ball through, and it's in! A glorious ball, set and clear. That could be a penalty, it is! The kick. And a level! That could be the winner from Claridge. It is! Stevie Claridge!
4 straight second-tier campaigns, 4 straight playoff campaigns and 4 straight Wembley visits, and now with this latest win, they had evened the scores up at 2-2, taking themselves back into the Premier League at the first time of asking. Just imagine what Martin O'Neill could do with a pre-season. He didn't wait long on the transfer front. Casey Keller coming in to be the club's number 1 from Millwall. Izzet's loan turned permanent, and Ian Marshall, recruited from Ipswich before lower league talent in Steve Guppy and Matt Elliott, followed midway through the campaign. This time they wouldn't be such a pushover in the top flight.
Ball. Now then, can Claridge get in there? In comes the cross, Heskey's there!
Down to show his pace, Lennon tearing into the centre, Claridge is there! And Leicester, who fitted very snugly into this match at White Hart Lane, have scored the first goal, but Steve
got to the ball. Here's Lennon.
Chance here maybe for Leicester City. They got bodies up. Lennon going all the way. He's in. It's a goal. Yes! Heskey the scorer. Martin got. Grayson in a good position. Yes, Claridge.
Huge scalps were taken in Spurs, Leeds, Newcastle and the reigning League Cup champions Aston Villa. By the time the League Cup latter stages were reached at the end of November, Leicester had sheltered themselves in mid-table between Derby and West Ham. After sinking both Scarborough and York City in the first rounds of the League Cup, the fourth round triumph over Manchester United easily the turning point of the campaign. As each of Newcastle, Arsenal, Spurs and Villa all fell at the fourth round stage, the competition opened up. Leicester were lucky to be handed one of the three non-Premier League teams in Ipswich Town.
Here is Claridge. Now Robbins. Who's got the goal?
This is Marcus Gale. Oh, driven through Keller and Wimbledon are in front. Parker with a free kick. Towards Grayson, it's in. The final whistle has gone. It's Leicester City and Martin O'Neill who go to Wembley. The pre-season relegation favourites could end the season with a major trophy to their name.
Without winning one of their League Cup semi-final matches against Premier League Wimbledon, Simon Grayson's goal was enough to have the Foxes sneaking into a fifth Wembley game of the decade against Middlesbrough. Borough were newly promoted much like Leicester, but they had been expensively assembled to the tune of Juninho and Fabrizio Ravanelli. Still, it was to be an even game which pitted two mid-table clubs for the chance at a rare trophy.
Ravanelli tried to get it back to him. Juninho struggling his way through somehow. Ravanelli! He'll do well to make his cross, and Walsh is there again and heads it back. Heskey! It's tired in the kick-ins, but just got that air about him. But here he is, and he's done it!
Three successive draws after 90 minutes in the competition had taken Leicester up to Hillsborough, a venue not befitting a cup coronation and the last ever replayed major final in English football history. While Steve Claridge and Emile Heskey would gain the goal-scoring plaudits over the final, it was Pontus Kamack who was ultimately the unlikely hero, putting in man-marking performances on little Juninho, which essentially won the day. A strong end to the season, claiming 7 points from 9, earned the Foxes a first top-half finish in the top flight for 20 years. The sky was the limit.
Here's Guppy, courtesy of Heskey. That's a good cross from Guppy. Marshall!
Heskey inside the box. Heskey, chance to chip the ball in, across the face of goal, and he scored! Matt Elliott has got there inside the opening 2 minutes of the game.
The league simply carried on in the same vein. 8 points taken from the first 4 games against royalty of the English game in Villa, Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester United. A strong start to the season, which also included wins over Spurs and Leeds, made up for the lack of cup run in this season. Firstly, there was a grim display on the East Coast at Blundell Park as Leicester bounced out in the third round of their League Cup defence. Then their exit from the FA Cup was equally as meek, shipping another 3 goals to Crystal Palace, this time in the fourth round. A novelty arrived in September, only a second ever European qualification, and one which was actually achieved by winning a trophy this time.
By Leicester, that's towards the far post again. There's Walsh in with a goal. He's done it, Marshall! Ian Marshall puts Leicester ahead in exactly 11 and a half minutes, and oh dear. They're trying to play the 1-2, and that was just then, yes. Juninho. Sorry, but I thought it was a proper. And there it goes.
Ladine making tracks into the box as well. In goes Ladine. A chance, and it's blasted in by Juninho. Here's Cano. Jose Marie. Oh, that's a great ball in. Swept it by Kiko. And
So if you know your Leicester history or watched the previous video that we did, that makes it 2 European campaigns and bizarrely 2 exits at the hands of Atletico Madrid, a team who by the late 90s weren't even a giant of the continental game. Still, by every other metric in the league, Leicester had shown themselves to have improved. They finished with 6 more points, they won 1 more game, scored more, conceded less, and had a goal differential that ranked as the best outside of the top 5. It was only the position that lagged 1 behind because of a better quality of division. The team had been improved to the tune of Robbie Savage and Theo Zagarakis in midfield. Experience was added up top in Tony Cottee as defensive reinforcements followed into the 98-99 campaign. Own goal aficionado Frank Sinclair as well as Jerry Taggart.
Lovely piece of control, he's got 3 Leeds men round him. It's a great run from Heskey, it's a lovely finish, and it's Tony Cottee! 76 minutes.
Impey. It's going to go all the way through to Ian Marshall, who has surely won it for Leicester in injury time.
The position in the table was another 10th place. If you're keeping track at home, that's 3 top half finishers on the bounce. This is something that hadn't happened to the club since the 1920s. It just didn't happen to Leicester. If an opening day draw that ought to have been a win against eventual treble winners Manchester United was not good enough, then have the by now biannual triumphs over Leeds, Spurs and Liverpool. And whilst Coventry City did have the Foxes' number in the FA Cup, the same wouldn't be said for the League Cup.
And he's picked out Heskey, and they are coasting into the next round.
And then again, is it? Chance for Messi, is it? And Cottee, it's number 2.
Martin. Parker with the kick, Parker with the goal. 3-4 in the box now, Leicester. It's Lennon. And Cottee with a brilliant goal. To Savage. Sent forward by Lennon, it's a great ball, it's a goal! He's done it again!
If Wembley was a second home for the Merseyside clubs in the 80s and Manchester United frequented the grand old ground lot in the 90s, Leicester weren't that far off themselves. Once Chesterfield were put out of the League Cup, the Foxes were made to work for their Wembley showing. It was all top flight right the way through, and even when it wasn't, Sunderland in the semi-finals, they would go on to post 105 points in the second tier anyway, so were clearly of Premier League quality. Again, Leicester weren't supposed to be doing this, so no wonder that Martin O'Neill was a man in high demand. Everton and Leeds had chased and chased him, but at the 11th hour he made his decision known after a desperate campaign in October against Spurs to make him stay. Spurs, ironically enough, the team waiting for him and Leicester at Wembley.
They could have one, if not both players, in trouble.
Well, Savage will get a booking, I think, maybe for his tackle, but it's what the referee saw.
Yellow for Savage
and
red for Edinburgh. Good ball there for Everson, and he's got the pace to get in ahead of Walsh and keep going. And Keller, and it's a goal! Would you believe it? In stoppage time!
It was by now a rare blot in the Wembley copybook for Leicester City and Martin O'Neill as Spurs swept to the Alan Hardacre trophy in the last minute. It was a team that didn't need much, if any, money spending on it, as Tim Flowers came in as another goalkeeping option inexpensively. Now, usually in modern football, which you can say it is now thanks to the year starting with a 2, a team usually has a peak of 3 or 4 years. This was O'Neill's 4th. Again though, they improved.
Without necessarily getting their just rewards, at the Riverside Stadium everything came together. The side narrowly beaten by West Ham.
Cottee lurking right in the goal mouth. Flicked on by Sinclair, and that's a second goal for Jerry Taggart.
But once again it failed to tell the whole story as the Foxes finished 8th, a Premier League high for the club and a record equaling 4th consecutive top half finish. Outside of winning the league, it was hard to see just how Leicester could improve, and Leicester winning the league, well, that was never going to happen, was it? Once again, it was typical that it was the League Cup that enhanced City's season, and in Emile Heskey's final days, his record £11 million transfer to Liverpool would only be completed after the final.
So it's Oakes against Digby. Corey slides it in the corner.
Pops up everywhere, Muzzy, is it? Good ball into Heskey!
Jeff Horsfield must score for Paul Bracewell, or Fulham's dream is over. Horsfield! Oh, Fexad saves!
Savage again. Only Elliott in the box for Leicester, but he has a real presence. Oh! It's a super goal! Stop Paul Durkett's watch. We played 3 minutes of stoppage time, and it's Wembley again for Leicester City.
Messi is on the near post.
There's Elliott! Crossbar in! Batting edge trap here. Can they find one here? Good line by Jones. It's Kelly! Oh, there's the answer. David Kelly! Chatmere Rovers. Guppy now with the corner. It's Elliott! And they're back in front.
We're doing a tour of the lesser covered British teams in the 25-26 season, so hop into this playlist and take your pick.